is at risk. None of the Golden Worlds panned out. They're a bust. We need to find more resources, but that takes people, and we can't wake them up. Now more than ever, we need a Pathfinder.
Maybe I'm foolish, maybe I'm blind, thinking I can see through this, see what's behind. Got no way to prove it, so maybe I'm lying.
No way this is home.
That's why I'm here, exploring the unknown.
Who are these guys?
Visitors just like us.
Oh, get her on the shuttle now!
Nice work, kid.
I'm only human, after all. I'm only human, after all. Don't put the blame on me. Don't put the blame on me.
Meridian is mine.
He has access!
No more mercy. Kill them all.
I'm only human, I made mistakes. I'm only human, all it takes is to blame on me. Don't put the blame on me. I'm only human, after all. I'm only human, after all. Don't put the blame on me.
Now you are a part of the first wave of arcs arriving in Andromeda, our new home for humanity.
Welcome to All Things Geekery, the podcast dedicated to exploring the vast world of geeky hobbies and discussing all the random topics in between. Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. We are at episode 7, and it has taken us like 14,500 years to get to episode 7 because we're slow and it just takes us a really long time to actually get together. And I'm going to blame it all on Victus, and he's actually here tonight. But
yeah, blame it on me.
Yeah, I got to blame it on you. So, you guys, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining in. We are getting ready to talk about one of the most anticipated games I think of all time. Well, for me anyways, because I'm a huge Mass Effect fan. So yes, we're going to be talking about Andromeda and our thoughts and expectations of what we think the game should be. And with both Victus and I playing the first 3 games and the story that goes along with it, that's really what drew me in. If you guys know me, I've got to have a story, and I've got to have the gameplay that ties in, that makes all that coherent. The Mass Effect series is what really stood out to me from a story standpoint, and I'm hoping that Andromeda does it. So, that's what we're going to be discussing. We're going to give you our thoughts. Victus, I know you have played the game. I have not.
Barely. I've basically only seen what you already see in trailers, so my expectation has still not been either disappointed, not met, or met yet. So, what I know is what everybody else knows.
And just so you know, I kind of hate you right now for playing it, and I have not played it. I'm a little jelly.
Well, I mean, it's kind of what happens when you have EA access and they let us do things, like play games early.
Yeah, okay, whatever. But we actually get the game. It is dropping to our systems on the 22nd? 21st. So, we have about 5 days, and we actually get to play. Here's what I'm super excited about. 1, there's multiplayer in the game. 2, it's Mass Effect. How can you not be excited about Mass Effect? Some of the stuff that I kind of wanted to talk about tonight was not only the gameplay that you experienced, but kind of the navigation and exploration that I think the game is going to open up, because it's open world, and I love open world feels to the games. But here's what I hope they didn't do, is make it so big and so large that it becomes overwhelming for a character, and they spend more time chasing the little shiny objects and white rabbits that it takes away from the story and the plot line.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to go that way, because they've talked about how big Mass Effect Andromeda is compared to the others. And the scale of it also is going to be fighting against them in that sense, in that, Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, you had a storyline that was either you win or you die type situation. And this didn't just affect a planet, didn't just affect a solar system, it affected an entire galaxy. I for them to pull off something that's as impacting like that, but in a completely different galaxy, is going to be extremely challenging, in my opinion. So it'll be interesting to see what direction they actually go, and how they can build upon it without having to, reveal it all in just the first game.
Yeah, that's something I really hope that I hope there's enough story to really pull you in. But like you said, if they give too much of the story away, I think because the players and the community that love the story, love the game, and were huge fans of it, they kind of like this. We have an expectation of what we think it's going to be. So if they come in and they give too much of that away, I think it's going to draw players farther away from the game than draw more in. Now, one thing I do really like from the trailers that I've seen and some of the information that I have read about it, again, it's a third-person game. I'm not a huge third-person perspective gameplay fan, but I've grown to like it. It brings a new challenge, especially in a first-person shooter effect like this game. One thing I do like is the fact that we get to take control of either Scott or Sarah Ryder in this game. And that, I think, is going to make kind of a cool story point into what we get to do. The exploration, the navigation that we get to do, taking a game like this and pulling it into an open world space exploration, being able to visit different planets, that is really one of the cool pieces that's kind of drawn me to this game.
Yeah, and going into that, talking about Sarah and the male writer character that you possibly get to play, that's another thing where are they going to go with it? How are they going to play it compared to when you were the shepherd? That's how it ended up being referenced by the end of Mass Effect 3. You were the savior of the galaxy. How are these new characters that you're going to be playing? Are they going to be saviors? Are they going to be what are they going to be between the two? Are you going to be able to experience? Are they both going to be in the game at the same time, or if you pick one, something happens to the other? Kind of like a Caden or Sarah type situation. You pick one, well, the other one's gone. Sorry, it just kind of happens that way.
Yeah, and something else that I saw, Scott and Sarah, them being the offspring of Alec, and that to me, I think, brings another piece to the story. I want to see what they do with kind of the family line. Again, this is way in the future, so does that time difference that we saw between Mass Effect 3 and this that's getting ready to happen, is it really going to play a big part into the story, or is it just going to be kind of an afterthought of what happened at Mass Effect 3? And there's just been this huge amount of time in between these two games. I'm curious to see how they pull that together. And like you said, the Sarah Ryder, Scott Ryder piece that we get to play here, will that determine mission outcomes? Is there going to be some type of story that if you choose one or the other, or do you get to play both? I'm really curious to see what they do with these missions and how the story is affected around both of these players.
Yeah, going into the whole timeline thing, it's absolutely brilliant for Bio-Ware to go, oh, here's a storyline, but it takes place 600 years in the future.
Yeah.
Completely distance yourself from the previous games. So you don't have to weigh on those as much, though there is one critical one, which I'll cover in just a second. But it also allows brand new people, like talking to people at work that are wanting to get the name, are getting the game, but they don't really need to know the background to 1, 2, and 3, as far as I can tell. Now, I only know as much as the trailers in the 1 hour I've played so far. They don't really need to know that about Andromeda to hop right into it for you to know what's going on. The one critical thing, and I really hope they cover this and not just kind of like sweep it under the rug, is that how did the Andromeda Initiative happen and you didn't hear about it in Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3? Yeah,
that's something I was very curious about. The Andromeda, the whole, I think, expectation of the game, the missions, I mean, even down to the ship that we get being called the Tempest, I think even plays into that. You never heard any of these names. You never heard about Andromeda. You didn't hear about any of what was going to happen. I don't even think the technology was around at the time that Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, and I'm speaking in-game, not outside of it. In-game, the technology I don't even think was there as to what Andromeda is imposing on the game. The space travel and stuff that we have seen in the trailer, I don't think was even around in Mass Effect 2 or 3.
Yeah, I don't think it was either, because you go into just the trailers or you sign up for the Andromeda Initiative and watch some of the videos that they have out there. They're talking about how they were able to get across the entire expanses of dark space between the two galaxies and then continue to travel within that said galaxies without the mass relays. And talk about that and how that was never mentioned in any of the 3 games. And for something as big as that, you would think some remnant of it happened. Also, I got to give props to the one guy that when it was first coming out that they were making a new Mass Effect, I think they labeled it Andromeda. I don't know if it had a name yet. Maybe just a new Mass Effect. There was a post on a forum about a possible theory, and it followed. Before they even put a storyline out there, this guy nailed the theory on what was happening, except for he tagged it along in that these were actual arcs being sent to escape the Reapers.
Yeah.
Because it had already been, kind of been decided that, hey, we're going to lose the galaxy, we need somewhere to go. So that's what the arcs were built to get sent over there. Some of the detailed spots he missed, like there's now the Nexus, the main hub, the Citadel version 2, or
right.
Citadel version 2, and there's the arcs. So it'll be interesting to see how they tie that back in, or they could just go, "Oh, it just happened." You're not supposed to worry about it. Okay, fine.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
I think going into the game, and like I said, I try to stay away from a lot of the information when it first came out. I really wanted to stay surprised and wait till the game came out and just go, oh my god, look at this. But I couldn't do that, so I've been studying, and I watched all the trailers and all that fun stuff. The repopulation, like you said, the humans knew that, look, our galaxy's done. We're getting ready to be completely destroyed. So I really do hope that I'm hoping that there's a potential, maybe some flashback memories that you get to see that lead into some of this story that show maybe some of the things that happened in that 600-year gap of how they got to this Andromeda galaxy, and part of almost the strategy of how all that was kind of initiated. Taking that many people and going out into God knows where and taking all these arcs and basically repopulating the galaxy and going to different corners. I think that would be a cool piece to the story to kind of roll in. It doesn't have to be the main plot, but I think little snippets here and there, I think that would be a really cool pull in for players to go, wow, I played Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, and I got to see some of that stuff. And then 600 years later, now we're setting it a game, and we get to kind of enact those things that happened in those previous games. But now we're at this new portion of the story, and we're really playing 2 new characters that we've never seen before. They're, in a sense, they're almost recruits. They have, I'm guessing that they would have absolutely no skills. Those are things that you'd have to grow and you'd have to learn. I'm guessing the new government and the diplomacy, the living areas, all the operations that go on, I'm guessing that you would have to kind of grow into that and gain all that information as you play through the game.
We'll see how they actually pull it off. Do they do the just, hey, this brand new, we're starting over everything, and they make enough reference back to the Milky Way galaxy for you to actually have a connection back to it. But besides that, once you get there and once you start, let's say you get 10 hours into the game, you could care less about the Milky Way galaxy. Andromeda's your new home. Go on from there. I kind of see it going that way. After you get done with the initial, we've made it, we're establishing, and then you're setting a new home. You could care less what's happening in Milky Way. And that's what I wish won't happen. I wish there would be some continued connection between the 2 galaxies.
Yeah, I think that would be a cool piece as well. Like you said, if there's a connection point, if you could space jump between the two, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, although 600 years in travel time, but
Yeah,
still,
you know.
if they could somehow find out, let's say, oh, the Reaper invasion actually failed, and whatever happened to the galaxy, humans are still alive, the galaxy's still there, etc.
Something that I think, the tie-in between the old Milky Way galaxy, this galaxy, would be kind of cool. But one piece that really kind of intrigued me from the things that I've read is the navigation once you actually get onto some of these planets. I don't remember how many they said. I think there's upwards of something like 12 or 15 actual planets that you can travel to within the navigation system. And each of them kind of have their own open world feel. But I do remember watching a clip, and they talked about some of these worlds having, most of them have resources, and you can actually mine and gather those resources. So I'm wondering if there's going to be kind of a makeshift crafting ability in the game as well. That would really that would be kind of a new level for Mass Effect. We've not seen that in any of the previous ones. And crafting for a game like this, again, it's not crafting like an MMO. Maybe there's some quest or something tied behind a weapon. I don't know. I think that would be a cool feature as well.
From how EA, Bio-Ware have done their games, I really see this going the way of Dragon Age Inquisition in their crafting system. Even in some of the just clips of the quote-unquote open world is going to be managed very much like Dragon Age Inquisition, albeit the maps are going to be larger because now you have a six-wheeled rover you can drive around. So you want to have plenty of space, you can test this thing out, drive it around, do whatever you want with it. My money is on that it's going to be played out that way.
I don't know. It's going to be fun to see. Like I said, the game comes out the 21st. Both of us pre-ordered it. I went with the deluxe version, if I remember correctly. So, it did come with some stuff, and you decided to go with the 8 gazillion gold level, whatever they came out with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super deluxe.
Super deluxe, yeah. Honestly, between the two different versions that they came out with, I'm going to be excited to play the game no matter what. Being able to hop into Mass Effect and link up with another 1 or 2, or I think you can go up to 4 friends and play that. That right there was a huge selling point for me. Again, the previous games, the story was amazing. The gameplay was crazy good because of the strategy and being able to use the realm and the world around you to hide and cover. And a lot of that kind of set precedent for some of the newer games that I've seen come out. Take Gears of War, for example. Gears of War kind of had that same third-person style of shooting. You were able to use the cover and run and gun between obstacles and things around you. And I'm kind of hoping that they haven't really changed a whole lot other than, one, of course, your graphics and, I think your weapons. I'm hoping the technology that you get to play with inside the game is, a lot more advanced. We're talking 600 years later. Hopefully we've found some alien race that's helped us learn how to have better technology, right?
Right.
I know each of the planets that they say we can go to, they're talking about each of the planets having some kind of boss that you can fight and take out. So, I think between the armor and the weapons, the travel, the overall gameplay, the multiplayer, there's a ton of stuff I think is going to attract a lot of old school Mass Effect players. Mass Effect to me was one of those games that you can go in, you can play the story, and you can really grab a hold of what BioWare tried to do with those first 3 games. And once the third one ended, there was this huge cliffhanger, right? And everybody kind of at the end went, oh, that's how we're leaving this thing? So there's been a lot of time in between just the game release of the third one and now. Has BioWare waited too long to release this game? Is there enough excitement and build-up for players to go, crap, they're making another Mass Effect game, I want to play it? Or they went, I played all three, the story didn't really end all that well, I don't know if I want to try this new one. That's, I think no matter what game company comes out with a game, I think there's always that delicate line between waiting too long to bring, whether it's DLC content or a new expansion or even a new sequel to the game, and maybe bringing something too early and overloading the players.
Yeah. The big worry is that this game is going to turn out like a, instead of it turning out like a StarCraft or a new revised Doom, it's going to turn out like a Duke Nukem.
Yeah.
That type of shift, where for one, you've been working on the storyline this long or working on the game this long or whatever it may be, and you're trying to allure those the older games, and you either sacrifice something or left something in that's outdated because you thought at that time, yeah, people loved it, but it's been 10 years. It's been 5 years since the last one, or however long, 10 years since the first one. People's likes have shifted. There's different things that have come out since then. So maybe what they liked during that time, they don't like now.
Yeah, I mean, people's games interests completely change over time. They get older. Maybe people that played Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 at the time that they came out didn't have families. Maybe they've got families now. So now they've got kids to think about. Do I really want my kids playing this? Do I want them seeing it? That's something that I think about. My kids are, getting to the age now where they love this kind of stuff. So, they see games like Mass Effect, they're like, oh, Dad, I got to play this. But, there's always that chance of, well, is it appropriate? So I think there's a lot of guys that are our age that grew up in the gaming era, the golden age of gaming, playing all through the 80s and the 90s. And then we got to see all that shift all up in through the 90s and the 2000s. I don't think I ever left the gaming realm per se. I've always been attached to it. It's something I've always enjoyed. And I know there's people out there just like us that have always been connected to it, but they have become more selective at what they really grab a hold of. You look at all the communities of gaming, YouTube brought in a whole new avenue. Twitch has brought in a whole new avenue. Now you've got things like Beam that have integrated with the Microsoft Xbox, and you start looking at people who play games just to play games. They love the stories. You have people who like to grind just to grind, and they have completionists. You look at all these different people. I think Andromeda has a lot to offer, a big variety, and something that I really liked from the first three is the fact that you could interact with the different NPCs in the game, and it gave you the menu. You could choose different actions on what you did. And I'm hoping that that comes back as well between the dialogue that you could have. Can you have kind of a preset conversation? Can you choose what you say to people? Can you interact with them that way again? I think that's something that, that's a select few people that enjoy that kind of stuff. There's some people that go, nah, there's no way I want to play this. It's going to take too long. I've got to sit here and, run through this command menu. And there's people who just soak it up. They love it. They want to continually have a set dialogue that they work through, because to them, that sets up the story, and they know it's not just this, okay, I play a few minutes and now I'm going to have this 38.5-second movie clip to watch that shows me a little bit more of the story, and then I go play for 5 minutes and I complete a couple of quests and I watch another little movie. I think having those different commands and having the NPCs that you interact with in a game like this really takes the player to a new level and interacts them to the game and makes them feel a little more connected to the plot that they're trying to do. So I'm hoping that that is something BioWare thought of and did, because it has been so long since the third one came out. I think players are going to need something to kind of suck them back into the realm of Mass Effect.
Yeah. But at the same time pulling in new people, the new generation of gamers that
Yeah, absolutely.
doesn't have to go back to Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 and learn about all that lore that was there, or they'll substitute it back in to where if they really want to know about the backstory, it's in the logs. Then you can just go read it. Yeah, and that's one thing I hope they keep or add to and just expand upon was what we had in 1, 2, 3 was all the lore you could dig up in your. You could just look at it from as you get it from throughout the game. Just hit start and there you go. Just you could spend hours reading up on the stuff, and it was always interesting. Always new stuff to learn.
One thing that I really thought was very curious, so the combat system that they talked about introducing into Andromeda, there was one really big change that I saw the Bio-Ware producers talk about, and it was the first 3 games' ability to be able to pause the game and look at menus and do stuff if you were in battle. They have actually taken that effect and pulled it out of the game. They said that the combat is going to take place in real time. So if you're in combat, you can't pause or stop. It's either you fight or you're done. So I thought that was kind of an interesting pull into the game. Again, it's still third person, so you've got that kind of over-the-shoulder perspective of what the player is doing in the game. But I think taking that kind of an action sequence of, wait a minute, I've got to get in my menu and do something, I think that brings a whole nother level of, oh my gosh, it's intense, and I think that's something that will draw the players into as well.
For all those that are playing the early access and getting in on it early, there very well will be a change to the game come day one. There's always a day one patch, and I think BioWare is using this early access as kind of like a beta testing.
Absolutely, they are. I think the big YouTube community and Twitchers out there that stream that got a hold of this game for day one. I mean, if you look on YouTube right now, there are people who have already posted between 4 and 8 game playthrough videos. There is so much stuff out there right now on Andromeda, and I think BioWare was expecting that. I think they were waiting for the community to grab a hold of this and go, all right, I know that people they're gonna YouTube it, they're gonna stream it, they're gonna tweak it, they're going to critique it, and maybe even just completely hate the game, and they're gonna make videos on this. I think they're probably gonna take that and take it back to the design team. But like you said, there's always changes that happen when a game first releases after its beta testing, it goes into alpha, it gets ready to actually launch. There's always something that comes out, and I think this was kind of their platform for it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Come, whatever your opinion is right now for the early access, I think the true opinions will need to come out after it's been released a good couple of weeks. Storyline, it's not going to change without DLC add-ons and stuff like that. But any type of bugs, any type of slight modifications that can be done on just a quick patch level, those need to be taken with a grain of salt.
So as far as what BioWare has promised us and all the teaser trailers and the early access play, I am very excited to actually jump into this game come the 21st, and that's something that Victus and I are hoping to sync up and do, but we will also be coming together post-release of this game, and we will be doing another here's our thoughts on the actual game, and these are the things that we love, these are the things that we hate, what do you guys think about the game, and we'll be doing kind of a roundtable discussion on the playthrough. There's going to be a lot of content to look at. The game is going to have a ton of stuff, and overall, I think there's going to be so much stuff to do. For me personally, I'm going to be kind of overwhelmed when I first jump into the game. Looking at the gameplay and the trailers, you just kind of sit there at the TV and, you drool come out of your mouth. You're like, oh, I can't wait to, but yeah, that's me right now. I'm super excited to play this game.
Yeah.
So I'm ready to sync up. I'm ready to jump into multiplayer. I'm ready to test all this stuff out.
Yeah, same here. Ready to come up the 21st where we can actually get full access to the game and be able to play it all the way through and see what the story is, what all entails in the game, how long does it keep us entertained, etc.
Yeah, I can't wait. So guys, that wraps up the show for this evening. We enjoyed talking about it. I hope you guys enjoyed listening. I'm your host, Iogro, and we've also got
Victus Dark Arrow.
He is officially back. He is also officially a dad now, if you guys didn't catch the last episode. So he only needs to have 8 more kids and he'll be there. So
no podcasting then.
No podcasting if we have 8 kids. Yeah, that just wouldn't be possible. But we enjoyed doing this tonight. We are so glad we're kind of back in the swing of podcasting. You guys can check us out on our website at www.allthingsgeekery.com. You can always find us out on Twitter at allthingsgeekery. And look us up sometime. Let us know what your thoughts are on Mass Effect. Did you guys get it? Are you wanting to get it? What are your thoughts? Leave a note down in the comment section. Let us know what you're excited for. Let us know if you hate the game. A like and a comment would definitely be appreciated. If you think our comments are silly, a like and a comment would still be appreciated. So, you guys have an amazing night. You all stay awesome, and we will see you in the next episode.